Good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please hit the like button. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay on this wonderful Saturday afternoon. Okay. I wanted to talk about, I got a couple videos that I want to do because I've been busy. So I'm trying to do the videos in bulks. Okay. I'm sorry if y'all hear me smacking. I'm eating on a piece of cheese. Okay. I love cheese, y'all. That authentic cheese. Okay. There's a lot of people buy slices and they think it's cheese and it's not authentic cheese, but I do like authentic cheese, that sharp cheddar. Um, but I wanted to just get on for a few minutes. I'm going to do a couple more videos, and I was supposed to be off today, but it looks like I'm gonna be a little busy. But I may be able to get on tonight. But I want, in the meantime, put out some videos for you guys. I wanted to talk about the grace of God will carry you the rest of the way. If God takes you through it, He'll bring. If God takes you to it, He'll bring you through it. And this video is not going to be too long. I just felt the need to encourage some people because I know we all need encouragement all the time. Like, I think these last few months, especially with my dad being deceased, and you know, we didn't know how long my dad had been sick, but with him not being there, he was my rock. He was my he helped me to strategize. But he left a lot of gems and things of that nature behind, right? And the good thing about it is, my mother, who has always been a praying warrior, has been like my counselor, you know, my praying warrior, my counselor, my mother and I was thinking about last night when I got home over in the middle of the night. It's funny how my mother and I are connected. And I had ended up calling her at maybe like 1 in the morning because I got home close to like 1 a.m. and she was still up. And so my mother and I ended up like um, almost having like a Bible study over the phone because I needed some encouragement. And in certain times, you guys, like, it's always good to, and I know a lot of people, because people have always said, I hear you talk about your daddy, but what about your mother? My mother is just a wonderful person. People love her because she is not judgmental, has never been judgmental. I think I always joke about how my mom's mother was very strong. She was even physically strong and she was very beautiful. I was showing her picture. People talk about how I look a lot like her. And so, but my mother did not take her personality. My mother's very kind, and my grandmother was cool. She was a good person. She just didn't fake with you. If she didn't like you, she was not going to fake with you at all. Okay, she wasn't gonna treat you mean. She just wasn't gonna deal with you. Um, and it was nothing for her to cut a person off. My mother is very gentle and quiet and passive. You know, um, just a prayer warrior. I always say I'm really blessed because I that lady knows how to get prayers through. And I think about being on this internet world and how evil and sadistic people are. It's some damaged folks on here. Okay. I had people when my dad passed away because I talked about what a good man that my dad was. Started trying to troll me, sending me messages, and I think I know who it was and who had them doing it. Yeah, your daddy did, and this, and that. Go dig your dead ass daddy up. And you have to pray for folks. Okay, you have to pray for people. Um, I didn't even want to have anybody to trace them. Okay, to see who they was. People like that are very pathetic, and even in death, they still couldn't hold a candle to my daddy. Okay, even in death, he worked more than them in their pitiful life. Okay. And I got to thinking about, when my mother and I was praying, and I also get on a praying line too, where I have saints that be up all night, like they be on watch all night. And I could call and we start praying. Y'all, them prayers work. That's why I say you have to be very meticulous about who you deal with. But my mother said something last night when she said a mouthful. She says, "The grace of God has carried you this far, and the grace of God is going to carry you the rest of the way." I get to thinking about my dad. Was very generous with his children, with what he left behind. And my dad, some of these folks that was happy because I guess they thought it was hurting me. That's how sadistic a lot of these people are. um they couldn't even carry my dad's water. They couldn't carry his water. They sure couldn't carry his wallet. Okay. They couldn't carry his briefcase. Okay. um they couldn't. And I get to thinking about, my mother was like, a lot of the stuff that we have to carry on, and I never thought that I would have to carry on without him, not this early on. But I get to thinking about he had given himself 3 years and we weren't thinking about, that. But God, was ready for him to go ahead and transition. It didn't have a thing to do with no voodoo, no hexes, no nothing on here. And people that think that they had something to do with it, they'll be dead within 5 years. Okay, you have to be very careful about what you put into the atmosphere. It ain't nothing that I gotta wish on God coming back to get that. Well, not God, but their God, which is Satan. Okay, so you have to be very careful about when you sitting up trying to wish evil on people, because the Bible says the very thing you wish up on somebody else will come up on you. That's the reason why I always say I put that person in the hands of God. God, you see the evil that they're doing. Even when we're praying and we're coming into agreement in our prayer groups and things of that nature, we call out certain people's names. We say, God, now it's let your will be done. Okay, not my will, but your will. And so when my mother was saying last night, the grace of God will carry you, because I know a lot of times in life we get boggled down. Yeah, I have a lot going on. And when I get on here, oftentimes it's a release when I can get on here and communicate with you guys, because with the type of work that I do, I don't have a lot of people around me. I can't afford to. I'm very paranoid. You know, I don't like to have a lot of people working for me. I had an investigator who called me the other day, and I had to do some background on him. And Lord knows I want to bring him on, but I have to be very careful about with the type of cases that we get, with the type of stuff that we do. I'm very meticulous. And I only have people that I really, really trust who was there before, who was there in the beginning, who even helped me to get to where I am, which is really a very few people, right? When we start bringing in other investigators and meeting other investigators with other expertise and things of that nature, people who have been in other fields, from in other areas, that's really cool to me. When we have to go and get our training and things of that nature, which is mandatory, and I'm able to meet people that comes from other all walks of life, the CIA, the that are retired from other agencies also, and they're into certain things. I'm like, wow, that's really, really cool. And we're able to network with them. But, you know, I think when my mother was saying, the grace of God will carry you the rest of the way, I think in life we get so overwhelmed, you know, with trying to live, with trying to, um, you know, trying to trust people, and oftentimes they let you down, and you know, we all go through the same thing. But it's always best to remember, uh to fall to your knees, because I think oftentimes we get so comfortable. I know, like for me, like y'all know Demon. Demon has been one of those people that I have really attached to. And I don't really attach to people. I love it when I know that women are loyal, because um growing up I always wanted to. I have a couple, friends that are females. I have one that has been my friend, and she's solid as a rock. I mean, we don't have this other than her. Like, she's out in the street, and I talk about this, like she's street. We left South Memphis. My mother, I would go up there with my cousins and stuff, but I couldn't hang out in South Memphis anymore. But she hood street, okay? But that's my best friend. That's my rock, and I'm her rock. That's the reason why I always say, when something bothers her, if you have a conversation with me, that's almost a 40-year friendship. That's gonna override anything. Okay. I'm talking about as far as anything for some views or anything like that. Because I'm a very loyal friend, very protective, very territorial of my friends. But I think oftentimes as people, we all go through the same things. And we get to praying and asking God, to and I know I'm all over the place. That's because I got a lot going through my head, but I got on here to encourage. So y'all just walk with me. We're gonna get to the point, okay? Um, when we ask God to bring the right people into our lives, help us, with our to lead us in the right direction as far as our careers, and open up doors and things of that nature. And when doors are closed, okay, we feel like God had not heard our prayers. But I'm trying to tell you guys, um, God always hears prayers. I want to talk about just for a minute of an instance of when I had a situation, especially when I was working for the police department. When I first started out, I started out as like a secretary, and I was pregnant and nobody knew. And when I started getting big, and the investigators and felony response started saying that, they had completely fallen in love with me, right? So they would always say to me, once you have the baby, why don't you go back through the academy? Because I was so young. I already had a baby, and I was pregnant with that one. And they was very supportive, and they helped me a lot. And a lot of them are still my friends to this day. A lot of them are retired. If they're not, they're higher up in the rank. Tony Mullins, who is over homicides, was there. Tony has always been a great guy, very quiet and reserved, and you didn't hear him in no gossipy stuff. Didn't talk. He was just awesome. Okay. And so when I had my baby at 3 months old, I started. They encouraged me to go through the academy to become a police officer. And I remember I was not in shape because I had just had a baby, and I went out there, and I really hurt myself really bad with trying to take the PT test. I really did. I ended up having to go in the hospital, and I was like, dog, I don't know if I'm gonna try again. I think about all of the times, you guys, that the enemy has tried to take my life. See, you have to understand, when people start talking about um how they have survived something. If God has allowed you to survive something, it is because it is a mandate on your life. Okay. It is the opportunity. That's the reason why I always take opportunities. People go, you be into everything. I go, yes, indeed. I like learning. I learn everything. Okay. And I can walk into any room and know this, and talk on any subject. Okay. Because I love to learn. Okay. And I'm a study about it. And I had to go into the hospital, and I remember, with that situation that almost took my life. If I hadn't, it almost took me out of here. If I had not gone to the hospital that day, that would have taken me out of here if I had not. Okay. And then maybe like a year later, I tried again, and I had a lot of opposition. But I had always been the type, that if they say that I can't do it, that's why I always say, leave me alone. If you don't want me to do something, leave me alone. I might get bored. But if I know you think you're going to push up against me doing it and try to violate me, it's going to make me push harder at doing it. And I think with that, I started pushing harder at doing it. And God has finally shown me favor. But my season was up with that, right? My season was up with that. And I ended up going to another police. Well, I was a traffic officer. I ended up going to it was time to go back through. I injured my hip really bad, but my season was up with that. I went and worked with the chief over at the sheriff's office for a lot of years. Okay, and God just really was showing me favor in every position that I had ever been in. God has shown me favor. Okay. And I think about, if God takes you to it, he'll take you through it. Every time it was time to be promoted in a position, and people would say, "Dog, how you always work next to the top people?" When they would ask me, have you ever done this?" I would say, "No, but I can do it." And they would go, "Well, how do you know you can do it?" And I would tell them, "Because I can do anything. All you got to do is show me, and I could do it." Okay. And they love that. I was always able to sell myself, right? And I thought about, like, down through the years, how, God had, like my mom said, took me to it and brought me through it, even when there was opposition. And I know that we all kind of go through the same things where, on jobs, we have opposition. Because I know that I did. Being a young girl, being very ambitious, running around all of the men at that police department, a lot of those women didn't like that. Because one thing, they would, I guess they felt like these were hardcore majors and chiefs and things of that nature, and inspectors, and here they is letting this girl who's ambitious. I want to change this. We should do it this way. We should do it that way. And they would just look at me and go, "Okay, Miss Tamara, if that's what you want to do, we'll do it like that." A lot of people didn't take too kind to that. I didn't think anything of it, because I always try to be innovative. Okay, so it always caused me to have opposition. Okay, you have to understand, you guys, as my mother was saying last night, whenever God has gifted you, okay, some people are just naturally smart. Whenever God has gifted you with any type of talent, oftentimes it brings opposition. Okay. And I think so many times people give up because they go, I'm gonna quit this job, or I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I ain't gonna go through this no more. But that is the time to stay in there, because God has a blessing. Trust me. When God has given you favor, I'm gonna tell y'all something. When somebody didn't like me, one of the women who was, let's just say, a lieutenant, didn't like me, God had given me favor with the major, which means that person could not do anything to me because their supervisor liked me, right? So God always kept me protected. And I know there are a lot of people like that. You know what I mean? That when they have opposition with certain people and they want to get rid of them, God keeps them protected with the person that is over them. That is a sign that God has put you there. Okay. God has put you there to be a blessing. Okay. And what a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot of people that have favor. They're working next to the top people. They know how to walk in. And I mean, they have the ear of the top person. And what I started seeing was so many women, because more men. What people don't understand, see, my dad was a leader. Okay. More leaders, they may, even though they may seem hard, they are very vulnerable. It is very lonely at the top. So when they have assistants and people like that around them, it is not to be manipulative. And I see that a lot of people feel like in order to solidify their position, they need to be manipulative. And God ain't pleased with that. That is the reason why you always see them falling. And whenever they fall back to the bottom, the people that they have stepped on be down there to eat them like wolves. Because the same people you see going up, you see them going down. And one of the things that, and I knew that, okay, I always knew that God had me there working next to these powerful men for a reason. So when people would come, when a chief would come in there and say, because as I said now, it could be anybody. It could be a Fortune 500 company, and they would come, they would be thinking about suspending an officer or getting rid of an officer. And they would say, well, I think I'm going to do this. What you think? Because I would have to be the one to write up that paperwork for him. Well, no, chief, I don't think you should do that now. I think you need to reevaluate that decision. Huh? I was never a yes person, but you see a lot of people try to solidify their positions by hurting other people. If God has put you there to have the ear of the king, it is not to be manipulative. It is to help the people if you can, those that need to be helped. Because trust me, everybody that's been done, everybody that has been, fired and things of that nature didn't deserve it. Everybody that's having trouble don't deserve it. Just because a supervisor say a person did something don't mean that they're right, y'all. It never means that it don't always mean that they're right. But if God has given you the ear of the king, and when I say the ear of the king, that is the person, I'm talking about man or woman at the very top, you be a blessing. Okay? And I think that's one of the reasons why God has always opened doors to me, even though my life is hectic, y'all. I pray so much, it is ridiculous. I get on here because it is an outlet and to help people. And I have a lot of opposition on here. Okay? But what I do is, because I ain't weak. Okay, I do what is necessary in the background, but overall, I still know how to lay everything at the feet of God, because I understand how sadistic and sick people are, to keep myself and my family covered in the name of Jesus, because people are very sadistic now, right? But I want y'all to know that if God carries you to it, okay, God will carry you the rest of the way. If he takes you to it, he'll bring you through it. Okay. And so many people are stuck, in jobs that they should have left a long time ago. Okay. All because they are afraid. And I'm not telling people to walk off and leave their jobs, but they have $1 million ideas in their heads. God has given them ideas. Everything has its season. Okay. And if you don't carry it out, somebody else might get that very same idea. But they have $1 million ideas, but they have the wrong people around them. That's the reason why I say it gets lonely a lot, but I always try and keep my mind clear. And I don't have no negative people around me. When folks start being negative, I will not deal with them at all. That's the reason why I say people around me are positive. The women around me everybody know that they're beautiful and they get money. Okay. They know how to get it. They're not jealous of me in my field. They might call me sometimes and say, Tam, can you run this for me? And this happened to me. Can you run this for me, sis? How much you gonna charge me? Not a thing. Okay. Because God has put everybody in a different field, and everybody has different talents, and nobody is jealous of each other, y'all. And that is the key. Praying, trusting and believing God, and getting the right people around you. There are so many people that could be further along, but they have a mold in their life. And when I say a mold, I mean somebody that is there, that has been put there by the enemy. It don't necessarily have to be by another human. It could be by the devil himself that has peeked out, okay, the gifts and the talents on that person's life. And so the devil know what you're attracted to and what you like. And so the enemy will put somebody in your life. And it could come in the form of a husband, a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a family member, to try and make you abort all of that baby that God has put on the inside of you. They never want it to be birthed, because if it's birthed, not only is it going to help to take you to another level where your whole life will change for the better, it's going to help other people. Because as I always say, it ain't just about us. We're not here just for us, me and mine. It's about helping other people, y'all. That's why we are here on this earth. And that's why, even though as many times as I've been burned, now I just help people, and I know how to help them and not let them so close to me. Okay. But I still never allow it to stop me from helping people. I understand, like even with the missions and stuff, even with like what my dad was doing. My dad was an elected official helping people. And some of the things that he left behind, I know that I have to, and we have to carry that on. Even though it hurts me for my dad to not be there. God had given my dad a vision and a dream that he started for us to carry on his vision. Okay. And I had to decide because I remember when my that's one of the reasons why I was talking to my mom last night and we had to pray when the doctors had called like right before, like a couple days before my dad died, and it was like, it's best to, he ain't gonna be here much longer. And the thing about it was my dad never slipped into a coma. Most people slip into a coma. He never did. He was trying to talk to the very end. I don't talk about this much. He was trying to talk until the very end. And I remember going out there. I said, Dad, do you know who I am? And he opened his eyes and he said, Yeah. I said, Who? He said, Chrissy. He knew into the end he did not slip into a coma. Okay. And he was trying to talk to us to the end. And so when I was talking to my mother last night, and I was like, Dog, my dad left this for us. We got to do this. We got to do that. My mother said, yeah, but he showed left y'all all the resources to be able to do it. She said, he showed did that. She said, but guess what? Y'all going to get through it. You're going to get through it. Even though your dad is not here in the physical, he sure is here in the spiritual. And God has already brought y'all to it. He did it. He brought you to it via your dad. You're able to touch anybody you want to because of your dad's relationships. And guess what? God is going to bring you through it. Because, like I said, I remember when they said he was good. I remember calling my mother like the night before, he passed away. And I said, I don't want to do TV no more. I don't want to do the vlogs. I don't want to do media. I don't want to do radio. I don't want to do the nonprofits. I don't want to do the speaking engagements. I don't want to do the reading programs. I don't want to do nothing. I just don't want to do anything. And my mama said, do you believe that that's what your dad would want you to do? To just crawl up under a rock and be depressed? And so she had to remind me again last night, because I know y'all, we get, consumed with life. And a lot of what is going on with me, I prayed for it. God has opened up the floodgates of heaven on me. Okay. But I know a lot of times our energy is weighed down when we have a whole lot going on and things of that nature. Okay. And my mother had to remind me, God brought you to it because this is what you prayed for. And guess what? You got to go back to your knees to regain your strength and your energy so he can carry you through it. And I want for you all to know that, because I know a lot of what I go through, you all go through. Everybody go through the same thing, just different people. The grace of God will carry you the rest of the way. When you feel like you cannot carry yourself, when you get overwhelmed with trying to build and you get overwhelmed with your businesses or your work or your job, the grace of God will carry you the rest of the way. And if he brings you to it, you already won over half the battle, because a lot of people have visions and don't even know how to get to it. But if he has brought you to it, you have already made it past the halfway to the finish line. Okay. He'll bring you on through it. Okay. All right. He'll bring you on through it. Just remember to keep positive people around you. Anything that causes confusion in your life, eliminate it. Eliminate it ASAP. Get people out of your life that don't mean you any good. And as I was saying, the moles that the enemy put in your life to try to help you to abort. There are so many people that's full of gifts. I get to looking on here sometimes when I have free time, and I get to looking at dog. I'm just talking about with YouTube as a whole, how you see a lot of these personalities, and I go, dog, a lot of these people have personalities that could make them a millionaire. But because they don't know how to let that sewer mentality go, we already know that they can't go no further, and they're going to be right back down in the sewer. Okay. They don't know how to clean that stink up off of them. They have to stay in the mud. Okay. When God has given them something to make them, to take them straight to the top, they just don't do it right. Because when you don't do it right, it can't be right. God ain't in no mess. And so when you find yourself, when I say with leaders, or your God has put you as the head of something, and you're gaining success and things of that nature, and you find people around you that try to keep you in confusion, okay? Because they're trying to solidify their position, because after a while they're gonna take you down, okay? They putting stuff in your ear, such and such saying this about you, such and such doing that. Oh, you know, such and such doing that. When they're trying to solidify their position, first of all, they're gonna be the ones to ultimately take you down. Stuff like that vex my spirit. I don't have stuff like that around me. I don't. But if you find that, especially if God has put a vision on the inside of you, you find people around you doing that, and whatever they telling you, it ain't helping you at all, eliminate them. Okay. If you're a decent person, because see, some people like junk. It's attached in it. It makes them feel good because they like garbage, because they are garbage. But if you don't like the smell of garbage, and you don't want garbage in your life, okay, take the trash out. Get them folks up out your life, because they can't do nothing for you but keep your spirit vexed. And if you're trying to build something, you can't afford to have people around you that's going to be vexing at your spirit. They're like bloodsuckers. Okay. That's the reason why I always tell my daughters, my daughters are very beautiful, tall and beautiful. I don't really show them a whole lot, because I'll kill a bitch about my kids. Okay. And I know it's a lot of sick folks on here. Hell, if they sick, and I'm in my 40s, if they sick as it relates to me, can you imagine how they are? It's a lot of pedophiles and rapists that have taken root on YouTube. Okay. And you hear special agents and investigators going, the ones that you may know say they working to clean it up. But at the same time, when a person has a sick mind, okay, when they zone in on a person, and hey, my girl's strapped though, okay. But I always tell my babies, don't be with nobody that cannot add to your life, because I always tell them this is what a bloodsucker would do. They will attach to you because they see all of that life and all of those gifts and stuff you have on the inside of you, okay. And they will attach to you to suck all the blood out of you. And that's all, everything you have to offer, like a leech. And then once they've sucked all of the life out of you, okay, because oftentimes I see women, they make the mistake of just taking care of men. They just do. I've never in my life seen such, giving them their money and things of that nature. I didn't grow up around that. Okay. And I taught my girls better. Okay. And I see a lot of women, they're resilient. They'll get their lives back together, and men too, because they have blood sucking women too that are gold diggers. Okay. They'll get their lives back together, and then that person will come back. Okay. And one thing about a leech, they go for blood. They go for your life. Your blood is your lifeline. And once you down for the count, because one of these times they take you down and you ain't able to get back up. What they do is, when you slump to the ground in a lifeless position, they look down at you and go, "Oh, I thought that they was strong, with the K. I thought they was strong. I can't get nothing else up out of this." And they'll step right over you and go into trying to attach to somebody else and suck the life out of them. Okay. That's the reason why I say, if a person is not helping to add value, and yes, men are supposed to be the protectors, the providers, the caretakers, and things of that nature. Okay. Everybody ain't where they should be. Okay. And it ain't nothing wrong with a woman helping a man build. Okay. If she knows that they are solid, and I ain't talking about with her money, because one thing about a man, he know how to go get some money. He get him a smart woman. She can help him to build and become a millionaire, not somebody that's wanting you to help build so they can go get them a damn porn star. Okay. They want to use your mind to attract porn stars and prostitutes, not them. Make sure you have built a solid foundation with that person. So because everybody don't deserve your gifts. Okay. You don't cash your pearls to swine. And I'm talking about them brilliant thoughts in your mind, because men like smart women. Okay. Even though she might not be his type and she could be beautiful, she just ain't no porn star. Okay. And he'll use the brilliant, nice girl to help him build be able to attract and take care of the porn stars. Okay. So that's why I always say be very meticulous about who you allow into your world. And once you get positive people, positive energies and entities around you, that's going to be all that you attach and attract, because the grace of God is going to start carrying you. Even those blessings that, those things that you had before God, okay, that you thought God had forgotten about, it'll start falling into your lap. Y'all, when it's something for me, it just falls in my lap. I can't miss it. I go, dog, that happened quick, because when it's for you and you got the right type of energy around you and your mind is right, God will allow it to fall in your lap. A lot of you haven't gotten what you want because you have the wrong people around you, and God ain't going to bless you with something that's going to take you to the top, and you got the wrong people around you. You got bloodsuckers around you that ain't going to do nothing but help you lose it anyways. That's going to drain it from you anyways. Right? Some people, like I was saying, have not gained or are not where they're supposed to be because of the people that are in their lives. And hey, I know a lot of people go, well, I had been married, did for 15 and 20 years. God had God, they start getting churchy when they know something ain't right, but they trying to justify God is in marriages. Marriages are ordained by God. Okay. Everybody that's married to somebody, it was not it was not their calling. Some people are married to the wrong people. God never told them to marry that person. Okay. They was just lusting. Okay. He went and married a woman he knew he wasn't supposed to be with because she was eating booty. Let's just y'all know I got to be real. Okay. She done blew his mind because she's a porn star and she eats booty. And some men like to see women have sex with a whole lot of other men. Okay. And it blew his mind, and he done been married to her all this time, and vice versa. Okay. And now they've tried to pull God in. I keep telling people, God ain't in no mess. God ain't in no mess. Never have been. And so that's the reason why a lot of these people miserable. Okay. Because they do something that they know that they were not supposed to do, and then try to justify it by bringing God in it. Okay. And so that's the reason why I say a lot of times we have to get our minds right, y'all. But I had wanted to get on here and encourage you all, because I've had a lot going through my mind. And like I said, I've been working a whole lot. And like my mother said, God has opened up the floodgates of heaven on you. That's what you prayed for. And so even when I start feeling overwhelmed and things of that nature, because I've been wanting to get on here, we get on here and we laugh and things of that nature. I don't look at this as a job, even though it pays me. It just don't pay me a whole lot, We have fun on here. And that's the reason why when people say, well, why you take it so personal when they come on messing with you? I go, because I don't get on here for that. I don't get on here for that. I have enough going on in my real life. I don't get on here to be violated, and that's the reason why I be all down at that federal building. I done told them to leave me alone. I don't have it. I don't take pleasure, even though I feel like a lot of what these people do is wrong on here. I never would have even been looking into these folks if they had not been messing with me. Okay. And the only reason why I looked into quite a few of them is so that I could take what I had found, what we had found, because we had to make sure, because these folks put, there's a whole lot of stuff going on here. These folks wants to put hits on people. Okay. And But I never would have been bothered with what people doing. The only thing I have to say to some of these folks is a lot of the things that they do, you have to reap what you sow. You need to reevaluate what you do. But I never would have been running, talking to nobody and a whole lot of this other stuff if they had not been bothering me. That's why I say, y'all, be very meticulous about what you do, because the energy that you put out, even now, I'm still not really, I'm not, I'm not studying that stuff. Okay. But be very meticulous about what you do, because what you put into the atmosphere comes back to you. A lot of these folks are very, nice looking people. You can tell that, I don't care how ghetto they might be. Just because you ghetto don't mean you ain't got no talent. Some of these folks talented. When you outgoing and you can walk into a room and own a room, see, I can't do that. I'm kind of like a dark person, I'll say. I'm very shy and reserved, but I guess I must have a light on me, because when I walk into a room, I try to go into a corner with my back up against the wall, because I'm paranoid, child. Can't nobody stand behind me. Okay, even when I'm in line, I stand to the side in a line in a restaurant or something. You can't stand behind me behind my back, because I'm paranoid. Okay, you might get yourself hurt. But I'll go try and find a corner and sit in the corner with my back up against the wall to try and work the room to see what's going, the energy in the room, But some people can, the quietest person in there, but people can find a way to get to me. But some people know how to walk into a room and own it. God has given them a talent, and a lot of these people letting people pimp their talent for the wrong reasons. Okay, for the wrong reasons, just draining them like a leech or whatever, when God has given that to them to be able to create generational wealth for themselves and their families and to help other people. A lot of these women on here are supposed to have Fortune 500 companies, but they done brought all this bad karma on themselves and men. Okay. But if you change your mind and start doing right and try and rectify a lot of the evilness that you've done in the past, apologize to people when you're doing wrong. When you do somebody wrong, you'd be surprised. As unforgiving as I am, I ain't no evil person. When people have come to me and I know that they was genuine about certain things, it really touched my heart. Because one thing about me, I got a tender heart. I do. I'm very unforgiving. That's something I work on, but my heart is tender. Okay. And if I know a person is genuine, hey, and it's a whole lot of people that are like me. I don't care how hard they may seem. When you do people wrong, apologize to them people and then try to make that stuff right and go on with your life. It's just too much that a lot of people are supposed to be doing. Everybody has a calling on his or her life. Get about your calling. It's too many people that are attached to you that you don't even know about. God has put something on your life for you to do, because there's somebody on down the line that you have not met that you're supposed to bless. They're supposed to be blessed through you. And so that's the reason why I say people need to stay on track. Find out who you are. If you find out who you are, you couldn't even worry about other people. Keep junk up out of your life. Okay. And watch and see, don't the grace of God carry you the rest of the way when you feel like that you cannot continue on. Because there are a lot of days that I want to, y'all don't know, like getting up at sometimes at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. We was getting up going over to Arkansas. It's dark over in Arkansas. Ain't got a light. But getting up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning trying to talk about, do some investigative work, it took a toll on me. I promise you. It did. It did. It was a lot of mornings I didn't want to get up. I couldn't even sleep in my bed. I was hell having to sleep on my couch so I wouldn't go into such a deep sleep or sleep at the office. And so it had taken a toll on me. And that's the reason why it's good to have people in your life, okay? That like my mom, for instance, that says the grace of God will carry you the rest of the way. Remember what you prayed for. Okay. And just know the grace of God to carry you the rest of the way. He's brought you to it and he's going to bring you through it. You just got to keep looking to the hills, because that's where all of your help is going to come from. And so I wanted to get on here and encourage you all today. Okay. I'm going to do some more stuff. I know people don't like stuff like this, but I think it helped me too to get on here. I know a lot of people don't feel like, you know, people are realistic. I was at the doctor's office the other day. I had to go. Y'all know, if you don't go for checkups, make sure you go for your checkups. I was at the doctor's office on Monday, I believe. And was it Monday or was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday. And was it it was Tuesday. I don't know. It was one day this week. And you know, even with my doctor, when I have a new doctor. I went to a new doctor, and he was like, what do you do for a living?" I said, "Well, I do private investigative work." He was like, "Wow, man, I bet that's real cool." And he was sitting there, he was wanting to talk. And you know what? He was like, "Well, dog, I think I got into the wrong field. Although I like being a doctor, sometimes it can get boring. So just remember, you guys, when you're envying other people, because a lot of people like put doctors on a pedestal, and I think there are a lot of great doctors. But just remember that when you're envying other people, there are people that would love to be in you think that what you got going on is nothing. And it's people that would love to be doing or love to be in your position. So don't take it lightly. If God has given you a gift to be able to do something, don't scam people. Don't try and use it for evil. Make it into a ministry, and you will be a millionaire in 3 years. I promise you. Make it into a ministry. Ministry is about helping people, okay? But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna get on off of here because I want to do some more videos. I know y'all had wanted to hear something about. I had seen, so I've been looking at um, Instagram for a few minutes, and I'm gonna do a video on Yo Gotti, but it's gonna be more of a preachy video because this stuff that's going on gotta stop, okay? But I had just wanted to do an encouraging video. I had to put into the atmosphere, what my mother said. And what my mother did was she imparted life and gave me a lifeline last night when she started encouraging me and praying for me. Those are the types of people that you have to have around you, okay? Because even though God may not be here, he's omnipresence in the fit. We can't see him in the physical form. He still have vessels, which are human beings that he uses to impart things into you to help to carry you the rest of the way. Okay. But anyways, you guys, I want you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I do love you guys so very much. Y'all absolutely rock. Okay. I'll talk with you later.